We've, for the last hour, heard, I guess, a lot of bad actors. I guess, could you give us your comments about the overall quality of financial reporting? I mean, are these bad actors like,
Yeah.
the exceptions, or are they the rule? And about the direction, the trend of the quality? Are we getting better or worse?
So I'm glad you asked that. I think we're nowhere close to the wild, wild west days of pre-Sarbanes-Oxley. Right? So in the sort of the heyday in the late 90s and early 2000, there was just ridiculous stuff within the gap base. What's happened in the last decade or so good news, bad news, right? So again, the blatant mucking up what's in revenue and these, the earnings manipulation, you see less and less of that. And again, I said good news, bad news. The bad news is that management doesn't have to do that anymore. Because again, in terms of Joe Naggio doing things that wind up in jail, because the investors have shifted their focus to the non-GAAP world. And that, I think, is a terrible situation. Because a company doesn't have to do anything so grotesque to trick us. They have made many investors putty in using metrics that are completely nonsensical, misleading. So I think that's I think fundamentally what's changed is that we as an investor analyst community have moved away from the safety of GAAP compliant metrics to the danger of things that are just made up. And the auditors are not going to help you because that's not part of their mandate. So is it safer or more treacherous? And I think it's probably more treacherous. And we just, for one of our clients, we did a whole series of vignettes on about a dozen different things. And it's just amazing how clever management is, where they're sort of sticking within the rules, but they have figured a way to deconsolidate things and just a whole variety of very, very clever type of things with non-controlling interest that we didn't get into. I mean, I'll probably have to at some point update that just with these things where you don't have to, as a company, do things that will land you in jail. Because the investors have lowered the threshold of doing good analysis. They've sort of given management a license to trick them in such a way that is very sad. And I'm hoping that Valiant is something that's remembered, and and it probably will not be, because people sort of move on. And but yeah, so I'm not optimistic that we're at a really good place.